Welcome back to our channel History Coins HD. As you that old as gold, but these Jefferson Nickel 5-cent coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1, we're diving deep into the mystery and value behind a coin you've probably seen 100 times before. It's small. It's silver colored. And for most people, it's just a regular 5-cent piece. But not today. Because the coin we're about to talk about is a 1964 Jefferson Nickel, and if you've got the right one, it could be worth far more than you think. And now, what makes the 1964 Jefferson Nickel so fascinating? Let's rewind a bit. The year 1964 was a massive one for U.S. coin production. The nation was facing a coin shortage, so the U.S. Mint was in overdrive, striking nickels, dimes, and quarters at record levels. In fact, over 1 billion Jefferson nickels were struck in 1964 between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, more than any other year in history for that denomination at the time. So that raises a question: how can a coin minted in such huge numbers be rare? The answer is all about condition, details, and a little bit of mystery. You see, while there were over 1 billion 1964 nickels produced, most were quickly thrown into circulation. They were used to buy candy, make change at diners, and roll through vending machines. These nickels were handled, dropped, scuffed, and worn down by millions of people. Finding one in uncirculated, untouched, pristine condition? That's where things get interesting, but there's more to this story. Rumors have circulated for decades about proof like 1964 nickels that were never meant to be released to the public, coins with unusually sharp strikes, mirror-like fields, and razor-sharp detail. Some believe they may have been struck using special dies or were part of a testing batch. A few of these coins have surfaced over the years, and when they do, collectors go wild. Then there's the mystery of the so-called specimen strikes, coins that were neither regular circulation strikes nor official proof coins, but something in between. These nickels often display features that hint at an unusual production process: frosted design elements, glossy backgrounds, and incredibly crisp details. These aren't just coins, they're windows into minting history, and let's not forget about errors. Some 1964 Jefferson nickels have been found with dramatic minting mistakes, doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing steps on Monticello's building, and even coins struck on the wrong planchets. These errors are extremely rare, and the rarer the error, the higher the value. Point one of the most famous features collectors hunt for on a 1964 Jefferson nickel is the full steps designation. This refers to the steps at the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. If you can clearly count 5 or 6 uninterrupted steps, and the coin is in near-perfect condition, then you've got something truly special. Most nickels, even new ones, don't show full steps due to weak strikes or die wear. So when a 1964 nickel appears with full, sharp steps and no flaws, it's like finding a diamond in a pile of pebbles. And here's where the story gets even better. Some of these incredibly rare 1964 Jefferson nickels, especially those with full steps, flawless surfaces, or unique errors, have been graded and certified by top agencies like PCGS or NGC. When those coins hit the auction block, serious collectors open their wallets wide. Because they know just how rare these examples are. They know that while there may be 1 billion ordinary 1964 nickels out there, there are only a tiny handful, maybe even just 1 or 2, that meet the highest standard of condition and rarity. So now, after all that history, all those clues, and all that mystery, let's talk about what everyone's really here for. Just how much could one of these rare 1964 Jefferson nickels actually be worth? Well, if you have one of those near-perfect examples, a coin with full steps, no signs of wear, possibly even a rare minting error or an unusual strike, graded at the highest levels, then brace yourself, because the tiny 5-cent piece could be worth as much as $110,000. That's right. A coin most people overlook every day could be worth more than a luxury car or a college education. So, what should you do? Start looking. Check old change jars, dig through coin rolls, and ask your relatives if they've got any old nickels lying around. You never know, your next big discovery could be sitting in a dusty box, waiting to change your life. And if you loved this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we've got more coin secrets coming your way. Top 2, we're diving into the world of the 1973 Jefferson nickel, a coin that might seem completely common at first glance, but don't be fooled. This 5-cent piece has a story that stretches far beyond its face value. And believe it or not, there's a version of this very coin that's worth a small fortune. So what makes the 1973 Jefferson nickel so special? Let's set the stage. By 1973, the Jefferson nickel had already been circulating for over 3 decades. It featured the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, facing left, and his iconic Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. It was a design Americans had come to know well, but hidden among the millions of coins minted that year were a few exceptions that would one day shock the numismatic world. The 1970s were an interesting time for the U.S. Mint. Coin collecting had grown in popularity, and mints across the country were cranking out coins in huge volumes to meet demand. But with mass production came mistakes, tiny flaws in design, striking, or metal content that often went unnoticed by the average person. These minting anomalies, known as errors and varieties, have become gold mines for collectors, and the 1973 Jefferson nickel is no exception. There are 2 main mint locations for this year, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia coins do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver nickels bear a small D to the right of Monticello. But no matter where the coin was minted, both versions have secrets worth uncovering. First, let's talk about full steps nickels. If you've been in the coin world for any amount of time, you know this is a big deal. The full steps designation refers to the steps on the front of Monticello. Most nickels, especially those struck for circulation, show soft details or worn lines due to aging dies or weak strikes. But once in a while, a coin is struck with such precision and clarity that you can count every single step, 5 or 6 clearly defined lines from left to right. That's when collectors get excited. And now, combine that with perfect preservation, a coin that was never circulated, never dropped, never rubbed, and possibly stored in a mint-sealed set for decades. When a 1973 nickel like this shows up in pristine condition, especially with full steps and no visible blemishes, collectors and grading companies take serious notice. But that's just the beginning. There are also reports of off-metal errors from this era. That means some Jefferson nickels may have accidentally been struck on planchets meant for other coins, like pennies or dimes, resulting in a coin with the wrong color, weight, or composition. These rare mint errors are like winning the coin lottery. They're often one of a kind, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add one to their collection. Another factor is the strike quality. Most 1973 nickels were produced with fast, mass production methods that didn't prioritize fine detail. So when one is found with razor-sharp details, strong luster, and zero flaws under magnification, it's not just rare, it's exceptional. These coins are graded on a scale by services like PCGS and NGC. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A coin graded MS67 or MS68 with full steps is considered a gem. And because such perfect examples of the 1973 Jefferson nickel are so rare, they often fetch jaw-dropping prices at auction. So here's what this means for you: that nickel you've had sitting in a drawer, that one from 1973 you haven't thought twice about, it might not be ordinary at all. It could be a piece of U.S. minting history. It could be a high-grade, full-step specimen. Or it might have a hidden mint error no one has spotted yet. One thing's for sure, if you've got a 1973 Jefferson nickel, now is the time to take a closer look. Check the date. Examine the mint mark. Look at the steps on Monticello. Is the detail crisp and clean? Is the surface free from scratches or wear? If it looks flawless, it might just be a coin worth sending in for grading. Now, after all this talk of rarity, history, and precision, let's get to the number you've been waiting for, because if you happen to own one of the finest known 1973 Jefferson nickels, one in exceptional mint state condition, with perfectly struck full steps, or an ultra-rare mint error, then congratulations. That coin could be worth as much as $90,000, yes, you heard that right. $90,000. For a single 5-cent coin. So what are you waiting for? The treasure might not be buried. It might be sitting in your pocket, your desk drawer, or your old change jar. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep discovering the hidden value of coins you already own, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another episode. Top 3, because we're about to explore one of the most overlooked coins in U.S. history, the 1979 Jefferson nickel. It's a coin so common, you've probably held one dozens of times without giving it a second thought. But today, we're peeling back the layers on this small, unassuming piece of metal to reveal a story of minting mistakes, collector obsession, and shocking value. So if you've got a coin jar nearby, now's the time to grab it. Because one of those nickels might just be a hidden jackpot. Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1979. America is in the midst of change, technologically, politically, and culturally. The U.S. Mint is striking billions of coins across its facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Jefferson Nickel, introduced back in 1938, is still going strong with the same familiar design, Thomas Jefferson on the front, and his stately home, Monticello, on the back. At a glance, the 1979 Jefferson Nickel might not seem special. In fact, the Mint struck over 800 million of them that year. But as any experienced coin collector will tell you, quantity doesn't always kill rarity. What really matters is quality, and that's where this coin becomes a true hidden gem. Most coins from 1979 were struck quickly, intended for circulation, and handled roughly from the moment they were minted. That means they were scuffed, dented, scratched, and tossed into pockets and cash drawers. Finding a coin from that year that's still in perfect, mint state condition? It's like trying to find a snowflake that survived summer, but there's one detail that can turn an ordinary 1979 Jefferson Nickel into a prize. It's called the full steps designation. Let me explain. On the reverse side of the coin, beneath Monticello, there's a staircase leading up to the building. Most of the time, these steps are faint or blurred due to worn dies or weak strikes. But occasionally, just occasionally, a coin is struck so crisply and cleanly that every line of the steps appears in sharp detail. When all 5 or 6 steps are visible and uninterrupted, that coin is awarded the coveted full steps grade. These nickels are not just pretty, they're rare, and it gets better. Some 1979 nickels have been discovered with even more exciting features. We're talking minting errors like off-center strikes, double dies, and misaligned planchets. These aren't just factory defects, they're treasures in disguise. Because when a coin isn't supposed to exist the way it does, collectors will pay big money to add it to their collection. Now, let's talk about grading. When a coin is sent in to be professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC, it's put under intense scrutiny. The highest possible grade is MS-70, and very few coins come close. A 1979 nickel with a grade of MS-67 or MS-68, especially with full steps, is extraordinarily rare. Only a tiny number of these coins have ever been graded that high. And when one does appear at auction, the competition gets fierce, but here's where things really heat up. A handful of 1979 Jefferson nickels have crossed the auction block not just in great condition, but in nearly flawless condition, with full steps and no post-mint damage whatsoever. Add to that a rare error, like a double die reverse or an off-metal strike, and now you're not just talking about rarity. You're talking about a coin that exists in a class of its own. These are the kinds of nickels that go beyond everyday collecting. They're investment pieces. Museum-worthy specimens. They're the dream finds that collectors fantasize about discovering in old rolls, estate sales, or even pocket change. So what does that mean for you? It means that 1979 nickel you almost gave away might not be so ordinary after all. Take a closer look. Use a magnifying glass. Check Monticello's steps. Look for unusual shine, crisp details, strange errors, or just a coin that looks like it came off the press yesterday, because here's the truth you've been waiting for. If you happen to own one of the finest known examples of the 1979 Jefferson Nickel, one that has been graded in top condition with full steps, possibly with a dramatic mint error or ultra-rare strike type, then you could be holding something truly incredible. That small 5-cent coin could be worth as much as $85,000. Yes, that's right. $85,000. For a single nickel from 1979. Don't overlook your change. Because the next time you hear that clink of coins, it might just be the sound of a fortune. If you found this video fascinating, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more coin discoveries, and turn on that notification bell so you never miss the next hidden treasure. Until next time, keep collecting, keep searching, and who knows, maybe your next coin will be worth more than you ever imagined. Top 4. We're shining the spotlight on a nickel that's quietly flown under the radar for decades. It's small, easy to overlook, and millions of people have probably spent it without a second thought. But that might change after this video, because we're talking about the 1990p Jefferson Nickel. And if you've never taken the time to really look at one, this video just might make you wish you had. Why? Because there's a version of this coin that's so rare, so pristine, and so mysterious, that it's been valued far beyond anything you'd ever expect from a 5-cent piece. So, get comfortable, grab that coin jar you've been meaning to check, and let's unravel the hidden story of the 1990p Jefferson Nickel. And now, let's start with some context. By 1990, the Jefferson Nickel had already been circulating for over 50 years. It was a familiar sight in American pockets, featuring the classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his stately Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. But in the numismatic world, every coin, no matter how familiar, has the potential to stand out in extraordinary ways. The 1990p nickel was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the small p mint mark to the right of Monticello. On the surface, it's one of the most ordinary coins in existence. But here's the twist: hidden among the hundreds of millions of nickels produced that year are a few that break the mold entirely. What makes these coins so special? First off, let's talk about something coin collectors obsess over: strike quality. Most coins are produced in massive quantities, and over time, the dies that strike them begin to wear out. That leads to soft details, blurry images, and weak lines, especially in places like Monticello's steps. But once in a while, a coin is struck with absolute perfection. Every line is razor sharp. The surfaces gleam with a luster that reflects light like a mirror. The steps on Monticello, normally worn down or poorly struck, are full, complete, and uninterrupted. This is what collectors call a full steps nickel, and when you find one in perfect mint state, that coin enters a whole new category of value. Now, finding a full steps 1990p nickel is rare enough. But finding one in gem mint condition, a coin that's been perfectly preserved for over 30 years, never handled, never circulated, and free from even the tiniest scratch, that's the kind of rarity that gets collectors seriously excited. But the story doesn't end there. There are also whispers in the coin community of certain error varieties from 1990 that were never meant to leave the mint. We're talking about things like double die obverse, misaligned dies, and even planchet issues. These errors, while extremely rare, turn an already valuable coin into something extraordinary. Because when a coin like this combines both rarity and a unique flaw, it becomes one of a kind, a true collector's trophy. Now let's talk about grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless, perfect specimen. Most nickels found in circulation fall somewhere between grades 10 and 50. But the coins that really stand out, the ones with perfect full steps and high mint state grades like MS66, MS67, or even MS68, are the ones that demand serious attention from auction houses and collectors alike. Very few 1990p Jefferson nickels have achieved these elite grades. Most show signs of wear or weak strikes. But a select few, carefully stored, professionally graded, and preserved against time, have emerged as the finest known examples of their kind. So what does this mean for you? It means that somewhere out there, possibly even in a box of old change, is a 1990p nickel that holds a secret. A coin that looks like any other, but under the microscope, reveals itself to be a numismatic marvel. If you find one with sharp, bold steps on Monticello, glowing luster, and no sign of damage or wear, then you might be holding something truly special. And now, after all the details, history, and clues, it's time to answer the big question: what's a rare 1990p Jefferson nickel really worth? If you happen to own one of the finest known specimens in perfect mint state condition, with full steps, strong strike, and maybe even a rare mint error, then the tiny 5-cent coin could be worth as much as $78,000. Yes, you heard that right. $78,000 for a nickel from 1990. It's proof that sometimes, the greatest treasures hide in plain sight. So, check your collections. Dig through those coin rolls. Look twice at the coins you're about to spend. Because the next great discovery might already be in your hands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating finds, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you never miss a chance to discover hidden treasure. Top 5. We're diving into one of the most unexpected treasure stories in modern American coinage, a coin that many people have held, spent, or tossed into a drawer without ever realizing the incredible secret it might hold. That's right, today we're talking about the 1995p Jefferson Nickel. And now, when you think of valuable coins, your mind probably jumps to silver dollars, rare cents, or old gold pieces. But this time, it's the humble nickel, a coin worth just 5 cents on paper, that's making waves among collectors. And believe it or not, one specific 1995p Jefferson nickel has shocked the numismatic world by reaching a value that few ever imagined possible. So get comfortable, because this isn't just a story about metal, it's about mystery, precision, and the thrill of discovering something rare hiding in plain sight. Let's rewind to 1995. The mid-90s was a busy time for the US Mint. Billions of coins were being struck every year to keep up with America's growing economy. The Jefferson nickel, in circulation since 1938, was still going strong. Its design hadn't changed much: Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front, his home Monticello on the back. By this point, it was one of the most recognizable coins in the country. The 1995 P nickel was minted in Philadelphia, which is indicated by the small P mint mark located just to the right of Monticello on the reverse. At first glance, this coin appears to be just another routine year of production. Nothing flashy. Nothing historic. But as with many things in the coin world, the devil is in the details. Here's where it gets interesting. Out of the hundreds of millions of 1995 P nickels struck, only a tiny handful were produced with exceptional quality, coins that were struck with brand new dies, under the best conditions, and preserved in absolute mint state. These coins show razor-sharp detail, brilliant luster, and no signs of wear or damage. But even more importantly, they possess something that collectors go crazy for: full steps. If you're new to coin collecting, let me explain. On the back of the Jefferson nickel, beneath the image of Monticello, are a series of steps leading up to the building. On most coins, these steps are either faint or completely worn out due to weak strikes or aging dies. But occasionally, a coin is struck so precisely that all 5 or 6 steps appear fully and clearly. These are called full steps nickels, and they are considered a major find among collectors. But finding a 1995 P Jefferson nickel with full steps? That's a rare event. The reason is simple. During the 1990s, the mint wasn't particularly focused on strike sharpness. Most coins were produced quickly, meant for circulation, not for perfection. So when a full steps version appears, especially in high mint state grades like MS67 or MS68, it becomes a standout rarity in an otherwise common year. Now let's add another layer of rarity to the story: mint errors. Every once in a while, a coin slips through quality control with a striking mistake. Maybe it was double struck. Maybe the planchet was slightly misaligned. Or maybe it was struck on the wrong type of metal entirely. These error coins are like lightning in a bottle, and when combined with a high-grade full steps Jefferson nickel from a modern year like 1995, they create the perfect storm for explosive value. So how do these coins go from being worth 5 cents to becoming highly valuable collector's items? It all comes down to grading and demand. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC examine coins under magnification, evaluating everything from strike quality to luster to any marks or imperfections. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin, especially when it includes something as rare as full steps or an identifiable minting error. Most 1995 P nickels are found in worn or circulated condition. But the few that have survived untouched, stored in original rolls, bags, or collections, are now being rediscovered and sent for grading. And those rare, top-tier examples? They're turning heads. And here's the thing: this isn't a story from the 1800s or early 1900s. This is a modern coin. It could be in your pocket right now. It could be sitting in a change jar, waiting in an old roll of nickels, or hiding in a family coin collection that nobody's looked through in years. That's the thrill of numismatics. The treasure isn't always gold, it's the forgotten, the overlooked, the small things with big secrets. So if you come across a 1995 P Jefferson nickel, don't just toss it aside. Look closely. Examine Monticello's steps. Study the surface for sharp detail. And if it looks unusually well preserved, especially with those crisp steps and mint luster, it might just be something more than meets the eye. And now, the moment you've been waiting for: what is the rarest, finest, most pristine version of the 1995 P Jefferson nickel actually worth? If you were lucky enough to own one of the absolute best examples, a coin in high mint state condition, with full steps, exceptional strike, and possibly even a rare minting error, then congratulations, that nickel could be worth as much as $70,000. That's right. $70,000. For a 5-cent coin from 1995. So go check your coins. Look through that spare change. You might be sitting on a forgotten fortune, waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep exploring the fascinating world of valuable coins, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another episode. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting and happy hunting!